Good morning, this is Mr. Garcia here. We are on homework day number 9, getting closer to the FSA. This side is what we did in class today, but on the other side, this one is your homework. So we're talking about measurement, and it's a review, measurement and line plots. Mike used a ruler, so we should know what a ruler is. These things are rulers. To measure the lengths. So we're measuring lengths of 4 pencils. So here's the 4 pencils. I can see it does start at 0 because we have the next marker is 1, and it's the same distance from 1 to 2 from 0 to 1. So this would be 0. You have to really check that because sometimes they start not at 0. Okay, so it looks like the pencil tips are all starting at 0. Which line plot correctly displays the lengths of the 4 pencils? Looks like we have fractions in here, and I want to make sure, and they're all halves, half, 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 half. They're all halves, and I see that they counted in fourths here. 1. Remember how we put the X's in the spaces? 3, 4. So they counted fourths here. But since they're all in halves, I don't want to count fourths. I want to do a bigger X. 1, 2, like that. So this one would be exactly 2. Doesn't say what it is, 2 centimeters or 2 inches, but let's go with just 2 inches, I guess. But 2. This one up here, remember I'm counting by halves. 1, 2, and that's 1 whole. 1 and a half. 2 wholes. Oh, sorry, this is 2 wholes. This one right here, I said 2, but it's 2 halves, which means 1 whole. So I apologize about that. 2 halves equals 1 whole. Okay, so this one's 1 whole, this one's 2 wholes. This is right at 1 whole. And this one is a half, so let's count. 1 and a half. If I counted these 2 little ones, I would say 2 fourths, and it wouldn't match these. So that's why I counted 2 of the spaces to make it halves. Because I'm splitting this whole, 1 to 2 is a whole right here, and I'm splitting into 2 equal pieces, which would be halves. So this one would be 1 and a half. Alright, so looks like Mike has 2 of the pencils of the same size, which is 1 whole. This one's 1 whole, and this is 1 whole. Let's look at the ones that have 2 in the 1 whole. So this one has 1 whole, but only has an X for 1 pencil. Remember, Mike has 2 pencils that equal a whole. So not this one. This next one, go to 1 whole. Oh, same thing. This one only has 1 X at the 1 inch marker. And B over here, this one does have 2, so I'm going to put an M next to this one, and I'm going to look at this one more closely later. But let me check this one. Nope, this one only has 1 pencil at the 1 inch mark. So really the only one it could be is B, but let me double check. Next, he has 1 pencil at 1 and a half, and that does match over here because we only had 1 pencil at 1 and a half inches. And then this one right here, well, not this one, this one right here, 2 inches, we did have 1. So this one all matches, so I'm going to bubble in B. Okay, number 6. What length has the most pencils? Well, that's this one over here. What length has the most pencils? Well, this 2 inches only had 1. The most pencils was 1 inch. because there's only one at 1.5, one at 2, and there was nothing at 2.5. So let's just mark that. There was 2 pencils here, 1 pencil, 1 pencil, and there was 0 pencils on this one. Okay, number 7. Abby used a ruler to measure the lengths of 5 leaves. Here's her Abby's 5 leaves, and here's the rulers. Again, it does start at 0, and I do see it's fourths. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 0 fourths, 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, 4 fourths, which is the same thing as 1 whole. And then we got 4 and 1 fourth, 4 and 2 fourths, 4 and 3 fourths, 4 and 4 fourths, which is the same thing as 2 wholes. But again, down here, look, it only has halves, half, 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 half. So I'm not going to count every space. Instead, I am going to count every 2 spaces. That way I split the inches in half. Okay, the first one is exactly 1, because that tip goes right to 1 inch. You can even make a line down if you can't see. This one, it's 1, and then it goes 2 spaces. But remember, I'm going to mark 2 spaces at 1 space because I'm interested in the halves. Why am I interested in the halves? Because they don't have fourths down here. Okay, so this one is 1.5. Over here we have exactly 2. This one equals 2. This one is 1.5. It's right in the middle. Whoops, 1.5. And this one is 1.5 again. Looks like this one, Abby has 1, 2, 3 leaves at 1.5. So let's go find which one has 1.5, 3 leaves. So this one, 1.5, only has 1 leaf marked. This one has 1.5, doesn't even have halves on this one. So it's not this one or this one. So I'm going to put an X here. This one, 1.5, 3. I'm going to put a maybe here because that matches. And then this one doesn't have 1.5 at all. So it's not this one. Okay, so it is B, but I like to make sure. So the other ones that should be marked, there was a 2-inch leaf. There was only 1 2-inch leaf. Let's look at the 2-inch leaf and only 1 there. Good. And then the 1-inch leaf, there's only 1 of those and only 1 there. Good. So everything matches, and I'm confident that it's B. What is the length of the longest leaf? It's a little missed leaf. The longest one would be 2 inches. So here it is right there. Because 1.5 is less than 2. 1 inch is definitely less than 2. And 2.5 is longer than 2, but is there any 2.5 here? There's no 2.5 here. So that's why the longest leaf in here is 2. Alright, that is it for homework. Remember, this was number 9. Alright, you guys have a great day. I'll see you at school.